Hey guys, Gun here. I know it's another video on auras, but since I managed to grab a Alpha's Howl, I decided to make another video on how I'm utilizing the Alpha's Howl, because contrary to my belief when I got the Alpha's Howl, it's not as trivial to utilize as I actually thought. And first off, why did I get the Alpha's Howl? The Alpha's Howl has 8% reduced mana reserved on it, which means if you are equipping the Alpha's Howl and then use auras, they reserve 8% less mana or life, and then you can switch back to the regular item and the mana reservation doesn't change as with the Covenant. What this enables me to do is to respec the 10% reduced mana reserved over here, because I don't need them for my percentage reserving mana auras anymore. Instead I'm utilizing the Alpha's Howl, and that way I'm saving 4 passive points, and then I can put them in here instead, in 4 more life nodes. And 4 more life nodes is 450 more life, actually 487 more life. And because of that, I gained a lot of life if I can utilize the Alpha's Howl. But the problem is, it's not as easy to utilize as you think it is. And I'm going to show you what the actual problem here is. If you just want to utilize the Alpha's Howl and have your auras somewhere, it's not really an issue. But if you are also utilizing the Covenant, you don't have the chest to use auras, which is still alright, because you can use your weapon, you can use your gloves, your boots, and also your helmet. But if you also utilize the Alpha's Howl, you can't have auras in your helmet either. You can only use auras on your glove, boots, and weapons. Here comes Matur to Puna. Now you can't use your weapon either. You can only use gloves and boots. And that basically leaves 6 slots for auras. Let's take out the reduced mana. 3 auras over here, plus the reduced mana socket. 3 auras over here, plus the reduced mana socket. That amounts to 6 auras in total, which means 1 less aura than I actually want to run. I want to run 7 auras. And my 7th aura was on my helmet, Anger. I would just put the reduced mana somewhere in here and then use it, and put the reduced mana back into one of these sockets. And then I would have all the 7 auras. But now I want to utilize the Alpha's Howl and can't use the sockets on the helmet for auras anymore. And the first thing I tried to circumvent this issue is have my Anger. Let's say my Anger is over here. And I use my Anger. And if you switch the item, the Anger is turned off. What I tried to do is go back to town, because as with Tupuna, which I explained in the last video, if you go back to town, you can switch without losing your auras. Only if you go back to an area where auras can be displayed, the game checks whether you can use the auras at all. And that's why I tried to put the Anger from over here into my helmet after I'm in town, and then go back to the area. And unfortunately that doesn't work. For some reason the game manages to understand that I switched the Anger around. And I tried to figure out what the problem here is for about 2 hours. And after 2 hours I came up with a solution that fixes all the problems that you run into with Alpha's Howl plus Covenant plus Matur to Puna, and if you want to run 7 auras. What you have to do is enchant your Alpha's Howl with sockets, like I did over here, red ones, because I'm using Anger. And after you use Anger, let's say you have equipped the Covenant plus the Alpha's Howl, and now you use all the auras, and your Anger is over here. And after you used it and go back to town, and you switch to the other helmet, you have to make sure that you put the Anger into the exact same socket as in the other helmet, the upper left one in my case. If you put it into the exact same socket, the aura doesn't get turned off, because the game doesn't check whether the gem has been put into the same socket of another item. It only checks if the gem is in the same socket, and that's basically how the fundamental implementation of the aura works in this game. The game only checks whether you have the auras in the exact same sockets when you switch the area. Basically what you can do is, let's say you run a few other auras and then you switch out of the area. Now even if you take them off and put them back, it doesn't really matter because the auras are still in the exact same socket. And this also applies when you change to another item. As long as you put the gem into the exact same socket, the aura is kept when you switch the area. And basically what I have to do is, let's turn off the auras. Basically what I have to do is equip the Covenant, the Alpha Soul, the Mature Tupuna, and then you put the Anger or whatever aura you had in your helmet. You can use chromatics to get the exact same colors that are on your helmet if you have all your auras in here. And then you put the auras into the exact same sockets as in the other helmet. And then you start using the auras on your life. Anger with reduced mana. Then you put reduced mana over here. Use it for Grace and Wrath. Then you put the reduced mana over here and use it for... No, actually I have... No, I don't. One aura is missing. Ah, Anger, obviously. I forgot to turn it on. Alright. Now that all the fixed amount of mana reserving auras are online, you can switch out the Covenant. But don't switch out the Alpha Soul yet, because you want to run the percentage reserving manas on your mana globe. You can go replenish your mana now, because your Anger is still in the helmet. Don't switch it out yet. Now you can use the percentage reserving mana, auras, Vitality, Hatred, Determination, and Purity. Now I have all the 7 auras with the 10% Mature Tupuna bonus and the Covenant trick. And also the Alpha Soul trick applied. And if you switch to the helmet now, the aura would be turned off, the Anger aura. But if you go back to town, switch to the other helmet, and then put the Anger into the exact same socket. Boom! All the auras are online. And that's how you can manage to use the Alpha Soul, the Mature Tupuna and the Covenant in order to use all the auras that you have on your helmet, your gloves and your boots. If you also have auras on your chest, this would also work, because you can use chromatics and jewels and fusings on the Covenant to get the exact same coloring, and then use the auras while you have the Covenant equipped. And then you go back to town, switch the chests and put the auras into the exact same sockets, and bam, you have all the auras. And that's basically it. That's how I managed to use the Alpha Soul and free up 4 passive points for 4 more life nodes and increase my life by 480, which is a huge buff. But the Alpha Soul was rather expensive, 8 exalted, but I think it was worth it for 400 life. And that's it guys, see you next time.